Chicago's only News Talk Radio. News Talk 89 WLS.
It's a very special Roe and Garry show on lipstick.
Well, I don't follow these stories. I just don't understand. Another story today in the New York Post. They're copying a story out of the Star magazine. There was a story on Nightline last night talking about how bad the reporting has been on this Monica Lewinsky, Zippergate, oozle in the White House.
Because nobody's checking any facts.
Right. Only 1% of the stories in the press concerning this are actually journalistically considered sound. Because
1%.
They have two sources.
1%.
According to the canons of journalism, one must have two independent sources to confirm a story. Jim, you're a journalist. You should know that. Is that the way they taught you in school?
Yeah, but the only problem is both can be wrong.
Well, that's true. But that's true with that.
At least you made the attempt.
At least you got two independent sources saying the same thing.
And a lot of reporters say they do that, but they don't. If you get something that's good enough, you see a story that says high sources, that might be like an assistant to the president.
One guy. Yeah. Well, anyway, the point is that only 1% of the stories have had two independent sources in this. 38% have had one independent name source. And the remainder, which is what, 62% or something they were saying last night, I don't remember the exact numbers now, were either opinion pieces that had no sources or pieces that were that had unnamed sources. I mean, there's been a ton of unnamed sources.
That's goofy because somebody has an axe to grind and a network goes with it. It's insane.
It's funny, having just said that Richard Jewell is the only guy that went on that litigious ride of suing everybody that said he was the bomber. And all this is happening, and all these people aren't public figures.
Well, the problem here is who can sue in this case?
Well, not until all the facts come out, whatever they may be.
Well, even at this point, who could you see suing? The president's going to sue? No, he'll never sue.
No, he doesn't want to go near a courtroom again.
No.
Monica Lewinsky?
No, because the tapes exist.
Well, she could say she lied.
Yeah, but then there's no basis for a lawsuit.
Those tapes were taken illegally.
She is suing, by the way. She is suing. I did read that she is going to sue Linda Tripp for a lot of money.
My point is, Richard Jewell goes on that march with the lawyer and gets money from NBC and other places. And you would think that just happened a year ago. With all this that's happening, there'd be more of that happening as far as lawsuits.
Well, but Richard Jewell was just a hero plucked out who took his heroism a little too seriously for about 6 hours and all of a sudden became the focus of an investigation. But the attack by the media was as severe as what's happening with some of these other stories that have come down since then. It's just interesting that more lawsuits have not been filed, although there may be after this is all said and done. I don't think so, because, you know what, even if the reporting has been horrible on the story, and I will grant you that it has, I still believe every word of it.
Not only this story, but other stories that have come out since the Richard Jewell case that we've been talking about for 2 years.
Okay, throw in on the Barbie. Which one? Who should be suing?
Well, if the Ramseys are innocent, don't they have a suit? Don't you think? Doesn't that say something right there?
That they're not suing?
Yeah.
Yes, it does. To me, it indicates something, yes.
Because they seem to have a suit there if, in fact, they are not
They don't want to go to
murderers.
court.
Right. And that's the thing. That's the thing. Well, that's why you should sue a lot, because, and it's a horrible thing to say, but if you are in a situation like this, even if you, can I just assume for the sake of an argument here, let's assume that the Ramseys are guilty of the crime, just for the sake of an argument. Even if you're guilty, you sue.
No, anybody can sue anybody.
But a civil judgment, as O.J. Simpson has learned, is a much different thing than a criminal judgment. Because in a civil judgment, even if the Ramseys were innocent of the murder, there still could be, they could still lose that civil suit. It was only because Richard Jewell was obviously the wrong guy. The only time to answer your question, why did he sue and prevail, is because he never went into a courtroom with those suits. Those suits were never, no jury ever saw those. Every single one of those entities, NBC,
rolled over.
CNN, CBS, I think, did. I better retract that because I'm not sure that's true.
Check your sources. Here you go.
Yeah. Or NBC, all right, NBC, CNN.
Let's just stay with the NBC and maybe a newspaper.
Right.
But they figured, you know what? This is going to cost more to fight, and we really don't have a lot of backup.
They tossed the money at him because they realized he had them dead to rights because they were wrong. He's the wrong guy. and that's the way it
All
goes.
right, let's go to Jim's news. See how accurate that is.
A disgruntled employee has opened fire at the Connecticut lottery headquarters. 4 dead, including the head of the lottery there. The gunman then killed himself. A Hickory Hills woman here in the Chicago area accused of suffocating her baby for the $200,000 insurance policy.
I've got to stop you right there for a second.
Well,
What?
cut your mic.
You want to stop me?
I'm sorry.
He killed 4 and then himself.
But he said 4 dead. It should be 5 dead.
And then he killed himself.
5 dead. He shot 4 people.
Plus
Then he
1.
killed himself.
And killed himself.
That
So that'd be 5.
I'm just fact-checking here. Thank you.
all of a sudden, you're Mr. 1%.
He shot 4. 4 victims of murder, 1 suicide to make 5 dead. Correct.
5 dead.
Thank you. Interesting case. This Hickory Hills woman accused of suffocating her baby in 95. She was charged by federal officials. Now, federal murder charges are very rare. They use the federal mail fraud laws. They can't get death, but she could face life in prison. New unemployment figures. The president smiling today. Fewer people out of work. The unemployment rate stands at 4.6%, the lowest in decades. And a 14-year-old girl babysitting last night on West 61st Street. When she didn't come home, her parents went over to check on her. Family found her shot dead in the apartment where she was babysitting. The children she was babysitting for, okay. No suspects in custody. Traffic and weather next. WLS News Time, 3:37.